Welcome. I'm Rogers Anderson, Mayor of Williamson County. As we travel around our county today, we have an opportunity to get into a topic that we don't always get into: litter and trash and the things that are behind the scenes or under the ground that so many of us just take for granted. And we have the wonderful honor, I think, of having Nancy Zion, our solid waste director, with us today. Thanks for being with us, Nancy.
Oh, thanks for having us.
First time I've been able to pin you down and get you on TV here.
I know, I've managed to stay under the radar.
Well, most people, and Jennifer, I'll come back to you in a few minutes. I'll let you introduce her when we get to the litter section. But most people don't think of as the female population being in charge of solid waste director of all of Williamson County. It's a very different role than you would normally see in the workforce. So thank you for what you do, and every day it's one of those jobs that you and Jennifer both do that it only shows when it's laying on top of the ground and everybody's concerned about it. But that's a good thing that your department runs so smoothly. But let's talk a little bit about Nancy Zion. How in the world did you ever get to be a landfill solid waste director, and what interest did you have to get you to this point in your life?
I kind of fell into it. I went back to school later in life and got my business degree from Lipscomb University. So I am a business major working in the solid waste industry, but I do run it like a business. So I went to work for the solid waste department just as more an administrative position, and that was 18 years ago. So whenever the job opportunity came open 5 years ago, I had the honor of becoming the director.
Well, and for you, she's being humble, but for you that don't know, Louis Bumpus was there for many, many years, and there's as much as daylight and dark between those two. Louis did his job in a way that he was very technical, well respected, known throughout the area at the time. And then Nancy comes in and follows up, develops new programs, oversee. How many total people do we have in that are actually up underneath you?
That we have 23 full-time, and it varies the part-time, anywhere from 40 to 60, and those are at our convenience center. So we just try to keep a lot of them trained. So
let's talk about the convenience center, something that just about everyone in Williamson County knows about. It's an opportunity for us as citizens to go. It's supposed to be exclusive for Williamson County citizens. Oftentimes someone will slip in, but it's a place that you can go and discard your own waste.
yes.
And it's a place that you can go and separate, do recycling, and do the things that we need to do. And there's half a dozen of them throughout our county. We certainly would love to have more of them. Hard to find a place that is acceptable to the community, acceptable to the neighborhood, but on any given day, and particularly on the weekends, enormous traffic, and logistically picking up the products that are left behind and hauling them back out to the areas that it needs to go to. So we're constantly leading men and women to be at the convenience centers, truck drivers, overseers that work all the time. They get off for basically the major holidays, and otherwise those have to be staffed, which means your phone's always ringing.
Yes.
How do we? If someone's interested in being going to work, what would you recommend? Call you?
You mean for the convenience centers? They can fill out an application in Human Resources, or they can come out to the landfill and fill out an application. We're always looking for good people who enjoy interacting with the public. I consider this to be one of the most important positions in our department. They meet with the public day in and day out, 7 days a week. So
hard job sometimes.
it's a very difficult job. They are responsible for making sure everyone puts the items where they need to go and gets them in the right bin, and make sure they call in the bins on time, and just interacting with people.
So when you look at your department, it's broken up into, you've certainly got the landfill. If my memory serves me correct, we're just shy of 400 acres of a landfill.
That's correct.
and we have class 1, class 3. We have a transfer station out there. All those things mean something to you and to the staff. To the average citizen, they come in and they've separated their paper, their glass, their cardboard, their brush, and all of that. It all goes someplace different. Talk to me a little bit about it.
Our landfill, like you said, is it's 379 acres, and 124 of it is currently buried in garbage, either Class 1, which is household garbage, or Class 3, which is the construction and demolition. The brush that people bring us, we grind, and we use that for erosion control on the site. So whenever you take brush to the convenience center, our trucks pick it up and haul it to the landfill where we grind it. And the same with the construction and demolition. The trucks bring it to the landfill, and we do actually have a place where we bury that. For your household garbage, the trucks bring it to the landfill into our transfer station, and it's transferred to a landfill in Camden. It's a facility where it's buried off-site. The recycling goes through our MRF, our Material Recovery Facility, and that is leased by a company called P&H Properties currently, and we take our recyclables to them, and they handle the marketing of them.
And that is a 3-minute synopsis of solid waste and recycling that is so critical to us. As people recycle, let me say how important that is. It's not that we make a lot of money on it, but it keeps it out of the landfill.
Correct. It's an avoided cost. We pay to have the garbage transported out of state and buried, and that's a cost. If we recycle it, that we avoid that cost. And the same with even what we bury on our site. There is cost to operating that construction and demolition landfill. So recycling is a good thing.
It is a good thing, and when you think of recycling, Williamson County, of course, I've always said the lady behind most of that was Judy Hayes, who
Yes.
used to be a county commissioner out of the Burwood area. She convinced many of us 25 and 30 years ago that this is the way that we need to go. Now I don't know if we ever made any money on it, but it did save us money
Right.
on the avoidance costs. And you have an oversight committee, not just the local citizens and the county commissioners and myself, but you have some state regulations that put very significant pressure on you to avoid the things we're doing. They're straight out of the reg books.
Yes, they are. We are very highly regulated. We're inspected at least monthly, and we have to report to if there's any, even a small infraction. They come back and make sure that we have solved the problem.
So I understand you've got a project that's been permitted. Our landfill is actually off from Pinewood Road. We've got something different going on out there that I think is very exciting.
I'm really excited about it as well. I call it the SMART Cell, which stands for Sustainable Management Using Aerated Recirculation Treatment. Now, it's just easier to say SMART Cell because
Absolutely.
what it really is aerobic bioreactor. And sometimes when you say the word bioreactor, people think nuclear reactor, and it scares them. This isn't scary at all. This is really a good thing. In 2000, we took an existing landfill cell. Now, a cell, think about the hole you dig, you bury it. We took an existing landfill cell and we retrofitted it as aerobic bioreactor. And what that means is to pump leachate and air into the cell, and it treats the leachate in the process, and it also decomposes the garbage at an accelerated rate. So
Why is that important?
treating the leachate in and of itself is very expensive. First of all, I'll tell you what leachate is. It's any liquid that comes in contact with garbage is leachate, and by regulation has to be treated. And for the most part, that's rainfall. Rain seeps through the garbage and goes to a collection system, and once it's in the collection system, then we need to collect it. And to kind of put that in perspective for you, 1 inch of rainfall on 1 acre is over 27,000 gallons of water. And I told you earlier we have 124 acres of buried garbage, and we get on average 51, 52 inches of rain a year. So I'll let you kind of do the math on that. But from June 1st to December 31st, we shipped out for treatment nearly 2 million gallons of leachate. So that's a cost issue. So my plans are to mine out the existing aerobic bioreactor and refill it with garbage and build an aerobic bioreactor from the ground up. And we're going to do it in small sections, in little modular bioreactors. So when the first one is up and going as a bioreactor, we'll be burying in the second cell, the second section. And we'll have several of those. And by the time it gets back around to the first one, it'll be ready to be mined out as well.
So I know the mechanics of it very minutely, but Nancy's, as the director, is not just a matter of cutting out a hole in the ground and putting it in.
Right.
It's much more complicated than that. Our cell lines that we use, the liners are by all, you could own about any home in Williamson County by the cost of those liners oftentimes.
Yes.
We don't understand totally just the full cost of what your department has to bear, not counting the vehicles and the trucks and all the manpower, the woman power that we have, the labor costs, but just in maintaining all of this trash, because the trash is picked up from Franklin. Some of it makes it out to our area in the recyclables. Some of it doesn't. Each city may handle their own recycling side a little bit different than we do. But when you think about the convenience centers, which oftentimes is the point of entry for most taxpayers, that's
right.
where they bring their materials, which are the most busy convenience centers that we have around the community?
Grassland is the busiest. Nolansville is a very close second. We have a recycling drop-off off of Wilson Pike. That's not for garbage, though. That's strictly for recycling, and that's a very busy center as well.
And the Brentwood location?
That's it.
That's the
the
one
Wilson Pike, yeah.
The Wilson Pike location. And so then we have others in South Hall and the folks
Fairview,
in
yeah.
Fairview. The folks in the Leapers Fork area, a lot of them just go right straight out to the landfill. We have one out there. So if you're watching this show and you've got items that need to be delivered, we take basically one pickup load from a household on a given day. And that varies. Sometimes it's a real round pickup worth of materials. The men and women that work them are very, very nice to work with, but we don't take commercial haul, and people need to understand that.
Right.
If you're a commercial hauler, you're doing a remodeling job in my house. It's the difference of me remodeling or you remodeling. You're expected to have to pay for that product because you're charging me. Now, if I'm
Right.
doing all the work, then that's a different avenue. And of course, logistically and getting all that cleared when you go out to our convenience centers is always interesting. Which leads me to, I'd like for you to introduce Jennifer and what her role plays, because we're getting ready to get into that next section of litter, things that just drive us all nuts as we drive down the road.
I have an absolute fabulous staff. The entire solid waste department, the heavy equipment operators, truck drivers, the office staff, and Jennifer is, I think, probably the newest member of our office staff. Jennifer Gosciniak, and she is our recycling specialist, and she's been with us for almost 2 years now, and she comes to us with a degree in public relations from the University of Tennessee, and we are very fortunate to have her with her knowledge of social media, getting the information out to the public, and that's what we're here for today. Our focus for 2016 is going to be for litter, and we're trying to get the word out.
So Jennifer, let's talk a little bit about litter. Nancy and I have had some discussions over the last several weeks. Some residents have called in. They just notice or they see, and they don't think that people are as aware of what they're throwing out the back of their truck or what's leaving the back of the truck or
Right.
throwing out the window. Talk to me a little bit about this litter issue that we're facing
Right.
here in Williamson County.
You know, we've always had litter issues in Williamson County. Something that Nancy and I have discussed a lot is it's more visible this time of year with the greenery dying down, and so it's going to make it pop out a lot more, especially on a gloomy day like today. The good thing about that, though, is if it's popping out and we have more people coming forward, hopefully we'll have more people helping us clean up and volunteer. Because currently in the county, as you know, we do have a program through the Sheriff's Department, but there are certain rules with that of when the Sheriff's Department is able to take out inmates and clean up litter, which means we really need the help of volunteers through Keep Williamson Beautiful. With Keep Williamson Beautiful, volunteers have the opportunity to host a litter cleanup, and that can be as small as just yourself. So if you and I wanted to go pick up litter after this, we would just get some safety vests, some gloves, some Reach-O grabber litter pickers, or if you didn't want to use them, you want to make it an exercise thing, you can squat and make it more physical while you do it. But we really encourage people to help us clean up litter and take pride in our county, in our own area.
So when we look at Keep Williamson Beautiful, is that some state-driven initiative? In other words, is it like Keep Tennessee? We see some big-time advertising occasionally on television for the different Keep Tennessee Beautiful. I remember a few years ago there used to be an old vehicle. I think it's older than you. She's not very old. But this old guy had this old beat-up truck, and he was throwing things out. If you probably remember that, even though she's not as old as I am. But, you know, those types of public awareness oftentimes cause us to think about what we do and how we handle with trash. I know that you all have provided me some literature here, but probably one of those that you just don't think of a lot of those folks that smoke and flip their cigarettes out the window.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up, who we belong with. Williamson County is a proud Keep America Beautiful affiliate, and Keep America Beautiful is actually the leading nonprofit in the country in sustainability. So you do have to qualify to be an affiliate, and we are an affiliate who's always stayed in good standing. We get their presidential award each year, and we get that through having the volunteer hours and having a really great advisory committee of volunteers who are very, very helpful and just really passionate about the environment. And so our structure as Keep Williamson Beautiful is actually part of the Solid Waste Department under Nancy Zion. It is the volunteer division of the Solid Waste Department, whereas Williamson Recycles is the education division, so they tie really nicely together. And you're right, yes, they've had different campaigns through Keep Tennessee Beautiful, and what Keep Williamson Beautiful has always tried to just focus on is recruiting that volunteers, recruiting people with civic pride who want to help us just keep our community clean and who care about the community.
So how do we, I know you work tirelessly, you're on the radio and the other events, you're speaking, you're available for speaking events at any time. I mean, your degree is in public communication, or it's in communication, but tell the folks here, how do they get a hold of you? You got a phone number they can call you?
Sure, I love doing speaking presentations. I try and make games out of it, even for the adult groups. I think people have a lot more fun, and it's more hands-on. If you want to learn about recycling, we're going to hula hoop with recycling. But you can contact me at 615-786-0166. That's my direct office line. So again, it's 615-786-0166. And then we have two separate websites. If you're interested in the actual recycling information, such as our quick recycling guide that's going to give you tips on recycling plastic, paper, cardboard. Sometimes that can be confusing. There's a lot of rules to it. And that's on www.williamsonrecycles.org. We also have information about locations of all of our convenience centers and other different education programs that we offer through all 48 county and city schools.
So these websites are, of course, she'll get back to her computer, the phones. You don't have a big staff.
No, it's just me.
It's a staff of one. So she may not be there to take your phone, but it'll roll over to us, voicemail and get back with you. But you're available for churches and schools. What are we doing now currently with our school partners? I remember a few years ago the way we got into recycling, because we were having a very difficult time getting our mature adults to be engaged in saving and throwing and storing and recycling. So we shifted a lot of our emphasis back in those days to our that generation, your generation, that said, we need your help. We need some of that pressure. So what are we doing inside our schools to help with this recycling issue?
Right, and I kind of want to mention too, while you bring that up, because I grew up in Williamson County. I went to Edmondson, Broward High School, so I participated in this merit program that I'm now running. And in my interview, Nancy asked me, so why do you recycle? And I was really confused by that question because I grew up in Williamson County and participated in the merit program. So Pam Trollinger over at Edmondson Elementary, I mean, she has the kids recycling. Doug Anderson at Broward High School, he has those kids recycling. So I was just kind of like, doesn't everybody recycle? I don't understand what you're asking me. And so that's kind of my goal with the merit program. Again, we're in all 48 schools, so that includes Franklin Special School District. And the point of our merit program is getting the kids to take action themselves. The kids are going to be helping empty in the recycling, making sure the recycling is sorted so they understand the materials and where they go. They also focus on litter prevention. The kids can host litter cleanups. We've had them do PSAs. Some of the middle schoolers made trasher-sized PSAs for us last year, which were really, really great. They make recycled projects for us. They also plant trees. So they do all these great things, as well as the education side, participating in assemblies or maybe even teaching their classmates. We have some middle school age children who go and read to the elementary school age children. So like you said, it's really makes a difference. When you start learning at a young age about this, you don't really question it when you get older. It's just part of your culture growing up that you just kind of expect everybody else to recycle. And I think if we can continue that in Williamson County, you know, the kids go home at the end of the day and they're going to ask their mom, why didn't you recycle that? Dad, why'd you throw that in the back of the pickup truck? It's going to blow out. We learned it in school today. I mean, we know that's how kids are. And so that's kind of, at least my goal with the program, is focusing on the education and making it a part of their culture. So kids continue this.
And you know, there was an event, and I really have forgotten, Nancy, how long ago it's been, but it was picking litter up along the side, and I think it started somewhere out in the Leapers Fork area, if I remember correctly, and had pretty good turnout. And you know, like everything else, you have to continually educate and monitor it and encourage people to participate in that. But those events, I can think back to my younger days when Adopt a Highway was very, very important. And for your University of Tennessee, or if you happen to be a Florida graduate, you would adopt a certain particular section of a highway and keep that highway picked up. Those types of programs are so critical to everything we do. But I think it really funnels down into individual responsibility and how we view. We can't hire enough people. We don't have enough money to go out and pick up every single piece of trash that flies out. Nancy, I know there's a program that you've mentioned to me more than once. Nobody likes a squealer or a tattletale we used to hear in school. That's my age generation. But if you see somebody throw something out and you just don't want to get involved, you're not going to be Barney Fife from Andy Griffith, there are ways you can report that person.
Yes, on the Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation, on their solid waste management website, there is a link, and also on the stoplitter.org website, there's a link where you can report that person. You need the make and model of their vehicle, you need the location, the time, the date, and they send them a very nice letter with a trash bag.
Well, and it's just a gentle nudge
Yes.
to encourage that person, please stop.
We do have litter laws.
We do have litter laws.
Not
and
everybody's aware of that.
Just recently we had the sheriff on this show, and whether you're in the city, outside the city, you will oftentimes get a ticket or a nice friendly reminder on the first one. But I believe, and I'm a pickup driver, I'm a big pickup driver. I don't even own a car anymore. I think a lot of it is we throw things in the back of our truck. You may or may not have a tarp. If you're hauling things, you have to have a tarp or have it tied down. But I think a lot of it is we just don't think about that coffee cup we pitch in the back, or that soda can that we throw back there. And well, I'll get that later. Well, later is never there because it's already blown out along the way. So I encourage people to be mindful of your neighbors, be mindful of our property. We have a gorgeous community. Nancy, you going to say something on that?
The number one cause of litter is loose trash just blowing out the back of a truck. And like you said, it's unintentional.
It's a whole different ball game when it's in your community. And over the last month, since the holiday season, we've had people to call in and report that there just seems to be a lot more trash. And I love your explanation. The foliage is off and the grass is green, so it's not green, so it shows up.
Right.
It just shows up more, but all of us can make a difference.
Right.
I appreciate the hard work you put in for us in trying to educate, and particularly working with our children, because that's the future. But all of us could do a better job about our trash, leaving our trash outside. I know I walk in my community, try to walk every day, and oftentimes there's 2 or 3 vendors that come through and pick up the trash, because I live in the unincorporated area, and the trash is so tight the lid won't fold down on it. Well, when the wind comes through,
Exactly.
boom, it's out into the neighborhood. It'd be better to close the lid and leave the bag good tight on the side rather than pack it all in there, because it is going to blow away in your neighbor's yard. Now, that I can control if it comes in my yard real easily, and it's just kind of thinking. So, Nancy, we've got about 1.5 minutes left. I'm probably overlooked something that you might want to touch on. Actually, I've got 1 minute left. Is there anything that I've overlooked that you'd like to say this morning about solid waste, littering, the things we're doing?
I think we have covered it all. I just appreciate everything that the community does do regarding recycling and everyone's efforts, using reusable bags at grocery stores, hosting litter pickups, anything anyone can do to help. And if nothing else, keep your corner of the county clean. Pick up what's in your neighborhood. Just take care of your own stuff, be conscious, and clean up after yourselves.
Jennifer, thanks for being with us. Thanks for what you do. You're a bright young star out into the future, so we'll follow your history, and as you educate that next generation of young people, maybe we'll have the opportunity to interview them and think, what do you mean doesn't everybody?
I hope so.
Thank you for what you do.
Thanks.
I'm Rogers Anderson. Our time's gotten away from us. It's my pleasure to be here with Nancy Zion, who's in charge of our solid waste, our director, your director. Call her if you need her, and Jennifer, all the things she does for the education of our recycling and keeping Williamson beautiful. Have a good day. I'm Rogers Anderson. We'll see you later.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
You know the library has a Star Wars club. Have you seen The Force Awakens? Come and chat about it and the other movies in the series. Bonus, you can dress up as your favorite Star Wars character, play Star Wars games, and chat all about things Star Wars. Led by our teen Star Wars expert.